Thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. Excited to have you here today. This is about the enemy's playbook, the VA's playbook. If this is something you're interested in, please hit the thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe, share it with a friend, throw some comments below. And on the comments portion of it, I'm gonna throw out there that, it's absolutely everybody helping everybody. And, I don't know it all. Or I may miss something, and it's us helping each other out. There's so much information out there that the more that we can engage with each other and the more that we can share with each other, the better off we all are as a veteran community. So help our brothers and sisters out by communicating in the comments there and helping each other out. Especially, I may miss one or two or more, and I don't mean to. It's life. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the topic. The topic is essentially the VA's playbook. At least that's what I call it. It's probably not really called that. Actually, I know it's not called that. But the enemy's playbook, the VA's playbook, and for me, it kind of boils down to two different pieces. One is the schedule of ratings, which I've talked about in other videos. The schedule of ratings is absolutely the key to understanding where you should fall with regard to your personal claim as far as where your ratings should be. It should be no surprise, in my opinion, what you should be rated at. What happens is when it's a surprise, it's because you're going in blind. You're going into the process blind. You have no clue what's going to be available, what it's going to look like, or any of that. So when it comes to the schedule of ratings, what you need to do is you need to understand that in the schedule of ratings, there are many different aspects that you can look at, and they're broken down into different books within the schedule of ratings. And those different books are going to be like musculoskeletal, neurological, those types of things. And so you can find your specific condition in that schedule of ratings. So as long as you are meeting all the other basic criteria for a successful claim, right? Your active duty time, your diagnosed condition, and your nexus, the link between the condition and your time in service, showing that it had manifested during that time. Remember that it's just simply that the condition is manifested during your time in service, and not that the military caused it. Although, of course, if the military caused an issue, that's going to be taken care of. So as long as you're meeting those things, and you're looking in the schedule of ratings at your specific condition that you're filing a claim for, you're going to see the exact criteria to meet each specific rating. So in some cases, it's just, one rating for it. You either have it, you don't, and this is your rating. Might be a 10%. Others will have a cascading rating schedule. It might be, you might start off, highest is 100, then 70, then 50, then 30, then 10, then 0. So depending on what your condition is, it will have a whole list of different ratings that would be assigned to it. And then next to that rating will be the criteria to meet that rating. So if you read that and you go in prepared, you are going to be able to know exactly what you should be rated at. So if you know that you exhibit 5 of those signs and symptoms, and there's 5 signs and symptoms for a 50% rating, and there's 7 for the 70% rating, for example, you know that you meet the 50. So now it's up to you to make sure that you articulate those 5 criteria or 5 symptoms. You need to articulate that with your civilian provider and at the C&P exam. So when you go to the C&P exam, you need to make sure that you're saying, I have all of these signs and symptoms. I am a big fan of going in with notes. There's no rule. It's not like you have to go in with, just try to remember everything. You could write down notes. This is a very, very important and transitional point in your life, especially if it's your first claim. You don't want to have to try to appeal things and going back and forth. Sometimes it just gets harder and harder, and you get worn down. So go in with notes. Make sure that you are saying everything that is going on with you and making sure that you're hitting all of the points that they're looking at if they're applicable to you, so you can be assigned the appropriate rating. Super important. Now, the second piece, besides the schedule of ratings, the second piece, which is really good information as well, especially if you're working with a civilian provider, for your diagnosis and your doctor stuff. So this is really going to be geared toward your first-time claim folks who aren't using the VA, is what's called DBQs, the disability questionnaires. Okay, these DBQs are essentially the same information that's being provided at the C&P exam, the compensation and pension exam. So as you're articulating this information in the C&P exam, you could also have one of these DBQ forms completed by your civilian doctor that articulates all this stuff down in writing, on paper, on a VA form, and submit that to the VA, to the VBA, the Veterans Benefits Administration, for your claim as well. So you're hitting it from both angles. And really, as you're doing all of this, it's all with the idea that this is really a legal process. And you could potentially have to take this all the way through to the Court of Appeals, where you're seen by a veterans law judge. And you want to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row along the way and all of your evidence really tightened up and buttoned down, so that way you can have the highest rate of success with your claim. But again, you should not be confused with where you should be rated. So once you know where you are at on your schedule of ratings, what ratings you should have, you should annotate that somewhere. That way when the VA comes back with their claim or their award letter for you, you should be able to look through and go, yep, I thought I was going to get 50 on that. I thought I was going to get 10 on that. I thought I was going to get 20 on that. And I thought I was going to get 30 on this one, but instead they gave me 10. I wonder why. You can go back, figure it out, and then you can file an appeal on that one, because you know that based on your own analysis of yourself, you meet the criteria for a 30, so somewhere they missed it. And then you can go ahead and put in an appeal on that and get that corrected. And as long as you're doing things within the right time frames, your initial effective date will be preserved, and you'll get back pay for any adjustments. So I hope that helps. Just trying to share the information like always. And hey, if we don't take care of each other or something went wrong, thanks. Have a good one.